The brand new M1 MacBook Pro 16 is legitimately, you don't need anything with it. It's like a mobile production studio. It's one of the most powerful laptops on the market. It's one of the most powerful computers on the market. But if you're trying to build your own working from home or like the ultimate desk setup, what do you need? Let's find out. And while we're finding out, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Squarespace. What's up, everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So welcome to my actual desktop studio. You can see me back over there. This is no kidding what I will be using with the brand new M1 MacBook Pro 16, and it's what I have been using since I unboxed it about a week ago. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to plug this into my setup, and I'm going to walk you through everything that I use. We're a little bit looser today. We're a little bit less formal because we're a very formal channel off the bat. So let's plug this thing in because you only need one cable to make this whole thing work. Okay, actually today I fibbed. We need two cables because one cable is for the actual setup, and then this second cable, I don't know if you can see that, this second cable is to control the camera. I've got the camera up over here so I can kind of pay attention to everything that's going on because normally I have gigantic monitors. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up. The desk is a desk that I've been using for almost 2 years now. This is a standing desk from a company called Vari Desk. I love this thing. It's solid, like, can you see that? Like, I've got a ton of stuff put on this desk, and that may have ruined the audio a little bit, but I've got a ton of stuff put on this desk, and it's very, very sturdy. One of the things, I hate having flimsy tables or flimsy desks. This desk has been incredible. It's got a little electronic level over here where you can raise or lower the desk. I bought this standing desk never with the intention to stand at it. I like being very comfortable. I like chairs. I like sitting down. So I bought this so it could be as low as possible, and I like this reclaimed wood look. Something that I forgot to mention is nothing in this video is sponsored. Everything is something that I've personally purchased and I do personally use. So we talked about the desk, let's talk about the chair, because if you're going to be sitting at a desk for a long period of time, especially a standing desk, if you're sitting at a standing desk, I use the Steelcase Series 1. This is a very comfortable office chair. I know a lot of folks use like big gaming chairs, but those never look very comfortable for me. I've been sitting in this thing for hours now. I'm an expert sitter, if you didn't know that. Like, sitting down is one of the things that I am best at. This chair is incredibly comfortable. I got this, I'm starting to get older. I'm going to turn 40 here in the next couple of years. I need my back to be okay, and this is no kidding. It's very comfortable on your lower extremities, and it's very comfortable on your back. I will sit in here, I'll edit, I'll take meetings, I'll do all sorts of stuff for hours at a time. I cannot over-recommend the Steelcase Series 1. I like it so much I ended up buying my wife one, and then I'm probably, when we end up throwing, this is my son's gaming desk over here, when we end up getting rid of his chair, he's probably going to get a Steelcase Series 1 too. It's not the most expensive office chair out there, but it is, I love it. I love this chair an awful lot. Okay, so we talked about the chair, we talked about the desk. You can see here, so I've got all of this stuff, but it's set on top of a desk mat. Even though I do very much like this desk, I hate using a mouse or a keyboard or anything on a flat, like, wooden surface. Like, it's just not good. Can you hear this? It's just gross. It's gross, it ruins your mouse, it ruins everything, it'll ruin the desk. So I like having a big mouse pad over top of it. Now, there are a ton of mouse pads that you could get. There are actual, like, whole desk size mouse pads. This is a leather pad that I found on Amazon from a company called Galloway Leather. I'm not actually sure if they still sell this one. It seems like sometimes I'll recommend this in a video and it's in stock, and it seems like other times it's gone. You don't necessarily have to buy this specific mat, but this one has been incredible. I've used it for the last year or so. It is not worn out, and I moved this mouse around an awful lot. It's very comfortable, it's very high quality. I'm really starting to like the leather aesthetic for like some of my accessories. Like, I have leather seats now in my truck, which is the first time ever, but I absolutely adore them. I highly recommend this. It was not very expensive, but it will save your desk and it will save your mouse. It'll just save everything if you can wear out your mouse pad versus wearing out your mouse or your desk. So everything that's on top of that mouse pad is my normal mouse. I use the Logitech MX Master 3. That is my mouse that it's the best mouse you can buy, period. I've used a ton of mice. I've used all sorts of gadgets, all sorts of wired and gaming and every kind of mouse you could think of. This is the best mouse, period. I like that it's got a lot of customizable buttons on here. I like that most of all, it has this lateral scroll wheel. So I used to use a Magic Mouse because it was the only one that I could find that could scroll vertically, but also horizontally. That's very big for me as I'm video editing. I like being able to do like all the cuts and stuff with my left hand and then do all the scrubbing and scrolling with just my right hand from this mouse. I love this mouse. And then kind of recently, I also moved over to the Logitech MX Master Keys. Now, I was using a Magic Keyboard from Apple for a very long time, but I really have started to like this, mainly because this is the most comfortable keyboard I've ever used. Again, much like the mouse, I've used a ton of different keyboards. We've got full mechanical gaming keyboards here. We've got the Magic keyboard. We've got slim keyboards. We've got travel keyboards. This is, no kidding, my favorite keyboard. This combination right here, it's not cheap, but if you're looking for the most comfortable and like, you got to use it every single day, right? So you might as well invest in something good. I cannot say enough good things about the MX Master lineup. They're just incredible. And then for a little wrist rest, I used to just go like normal, just no rest at all, but I find that I don't like the way that I like to sit combined with how I have my keyboard on here. It is a little more strenuous on my wrists, so I have this little like wrist pad here. It's not like a specific one. It's actually a Logitech G513. It's from one of our gaming keyboards that I just co-opted to use for this. It's very comfortable. It just lets me set my wrists in a much more neutral position as I spend all day typing, and it's just very comfortable. I used to, and I get it, if you're younger and you're watching this, you're like, oh, look at the old man. He's got one of those goofy wrist things that my grandma used to have when I was a kid. As you get older, occupational safety is very, very important. And until you've had like a legitimate elbow problem because of the way you type, I get it. Everybody thinks they're invulnerable. Everybody thinks they're immortal. As you get older, you really have to take care of yourself, even if you're going to be working at a desk. This, I don't know if you can just buy this by itself without getting the keyboard, but find some kind of a way, whether you buy this or whatever your setup is, just to have a nice, comfortable, but safe sitting position. Okay, so we talked about that. Let's get a few more of this ancillary stuff out before we start talking about the big stuff. Ooh, one of the things that just so happens to be here, but I've gotten a lot of questions about. So when I do my video editing videos or I do my screen capture videos of any sort, if I'm trying to show off the performance of a computer, I will record everything on this Atomos Ninja V. It's just an external recorder. What you do is you plug in HDMI and then you can go out to another monitor if you want to. You can use just standard solid state drives. So this is an Atomos Caddy that will come with the recorder, but you just put like a regular 2.5-inch solid state drive in here, put it in there, put in a Sony battery here, or it comes with an AC adapter, and then you just hit record and it's good to go. You will need a special kind of a cable to read it. Obviously you will need an SD to USB adapter. Atomos does sell one. This is just a cheap knockoff that I got on Amazon. It works really well. You just plug it in. There you go. That's how I externally record my screens. Another question I get a lot about is my KVM switcher, because I will mention this quite a bit, and we did not talk about this in the MacBook Pro 14 video, but we are going to talk about it in the MacBook Pro 16 video, and I can't physically show you right now, but you'll see some B-roll of it. I use a KVM switcher from a company called Amos. Now, the reason I have this is I generally use 3 computers at a time. I have my Windows work laptop, I have my MacBook that I do all of the YouTube stuff on, and then I have the custom-built gaming PC that I built myself, so I need to switch between those 3. But what I don't want to do is switch between the displays and then have to get a new mouse and then have to get a new keyboard. And you've seen that, where I've had 3 whole setups on here and it was a nightmare. What I like about this is you can plug in HDMI, you can plug in USB, so everything just works through the switcher. My keyboard, my mouse is plugged in via the Logitech unifying receiver. I've got one of those plugged into the KVM switch, so anytime I switch between setup, everything's the same. It's just what pops up on the monitor is different. Now this can have some negatives as it's going through HDMI, so you're not necessarily, if you've got a very beefy gaming setup, you're not going to get the most out of it because you're probably going to be limited to 30 or 60 hertz refresh rate, even if you've got a 3080 Ti in your rig. So you may have to find other ways to work around that. I do have some DisplayPort things that I plug directly into my monitor that work, but I love this KVM switcher. It makes my life so much easier. I just switch between work to YouTube to gaming instantly. Highly recommend it if you've got more than one computer that you need to work through. Okay, so let's talk about my speakers. I use the Presonus E3.5s, I believe they're called. I get made fun of a lot for these because Presonus is what? It's the brand that people that don't know what they're doing about audio buy for audio. I don't really care. I'm not an audiophile. They sound incredible to me. They're so good. I don't even use my headphones anymore. I used to use headphones when I would do all of this video editing stuff. It's fantastic. I love these speakers. They're so good. Okay, ooh, and one more thing. You might, I get made fun of a lot for this too. I do take all of my notes on just a regular notepad. Here's a pen, here's my paper notebook. I don't like taking notes on computers. I don't like taking notes on my iPad unless I absolutely have to. What I will do is I take notes on this. Here, can I show you an example? Here's my gear list from Karazhan on my WoW Classic character. I just write my notes, and then if I need to transcribe them to digital to give do-outs to the team or to show like what we actually did during a meeting, That's much easier to me than trying to pay attention to a meeting and do it all at the same time. I understand that's probably because I grew up on paper notebooks, and I assume kids these days, or even not even kids, everybody but me, probably is better on digital notes. I prefer analog notes that I can then transfer later. Okay, so we've got the MacBook. The thing that I have the MacBook in is just a little stand called the Book Arc. You can find these on Amazon. This is a little more expensive than I generally would like to pay because it's like a fancy brand. I think you can find much cheaper options than this. It's very simple. It's just an arc. It's got a rubber coating on here. The MacBook sits into it. I like this because it keeps the MacBook mostly exposed so that it's very easy for the MacBook to cool down. Now, I don't have thermal problems with this MacBook Pro 16. I've been doing all these benchmarks. I've been doing all the video editing, everything through this. I haven't heard the fans turn on yet, even when I was playing some Warcraft yesterday. But this is my peace of mind, where if I was to set it on like a bigger stand, maybe it would have a little bit more problems ventilating. I don't think it would, but I don't know, it just kind of looks cool. And then I get to see the big stamp on the bottom. I love that stamp on the bottom of the MacBook Pro 16. Now I just get to see it all the time. Okay, so the two last big parts of this setup are my dongle, dock, hard drive enclosure, all in one thing, and then the monitor. So let's go with the monitor. Look at this ridiculous monitor, right? This monitor, I have no idea why I bought this. One day I was like, I need an ultra-wide monitor that needs to be even more ultra-wide. So this is the Samsung CRG90. It's from a couple of years ago. It's gorgeous. This thing is beautiful, and it's so wide and it's so big that I don't need another monitor. I can have 5 separate things up on this monitor and be good to go. Or instead of needing to be worried about extra monitors or how the monitor's colors are synced between the two, I like ultra-wide monitors. One of the things that I'm very happy about is I was using the Mac Mini and I was plugging into this monitor via HDMI, which is only 4K, and it was fine, but it was very, you could tell the resolution was not great. Since then, I started using the 6K Thunderbolt out to the DisplayPort. It looks so good. I love this monitor. It is gigantic, it's heavy, it's expensive, but it's And then the last major thing I want to talk about is my Flex 8 from a company called OWC, or Other World Computing. Now they have a whole bunch of stuff that you could get for Mac accessories, dongles, stuff like that. Why I got this is I found out that I started to need more storage for this YouTube stuff. I've got almost 5 years of legacy storage that I needed, and I was sick of just having it all on LaCie drive. So I bought this for a 24 terabyte RAID solution. It works great. All I have to do is plug it into a Thunderbolt port, and I get access to all of my files. What I like about RAID is if one of the drives in this thing dies, I can then replace it and not lose anything. Now I will miss out on a little bit of the storage. I think I lose one drive to redundancy. So if one drive dies, I just replace it. Got 24 terabytes. With 5 years of files on here, we have 18 terabytes still available. So we've used about 5-6 terabytes in the past 5 years. So basically, I'm good to go. I shoot all these videos in 4K 10-bit. I save everything now. I don't have to throw anything away. It's awesome. But the reason I bought this RAID specifically is it's basically like a RAID and a dongle combined. So I have all of my ports built into this thing. I actually use the SD card reader on here, even though now the MacBook Pro 16 has an SD card reader built into it. I use the SD card built into here. I use the display port out built into here. Everything that I need to plug into my computer plugs in through this. It's got USB-A, it's got USB-C, it's got the Thunderbolt out, it's got incredible, it's just so good. The only thing I don't like about it is I'm now used to all of this silence because of the M1 MacBooks. You can hear it, like if we're quiet right now. Here, can you? It's not loud, but you can hear it. That's the only thing that drives me crazy about it is... Okay, so yeah, this is all of the stuff that I think is incredible for the brand new MacBook Pro 16. It's not cheap, but again, the MacBook Pro 16 is not a cheap laptop. It's aimed for professionals that have specific needs. So I think if you are going to buy this and then you're going to build around it, you should also be looking at accessories that are built for professionals with professional needs. So we showed the travel, the lighter, the cheaper stuff with the MacBook Pro 14 because I think that's more built for people that are traveling, whereas this laptop demands some higher quality stuff. And so that's what we talked about today. But what about you? I'm sure you've got your own desk setup. What are some of your favorite desk accessories or desk stuff that you use with your MacBook Pros or other computers? Let me know in the comments below. I love finding out what everybody uses of their own. I actually found this KVM switch from somebody's comment. So I will read all the comments and find new cool stuff to get. Today's sponsor, Squarespace. You can create your own very beautiful website. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a professional website, online store, or portfolio. It's so easy to claim a domain/URL, create a custom site that matches your style, and brings your ideas to life. Head on over to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, head on over to squarespace.com/everydaydad to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks for watching.